everyone, and welcome to my booktube channel. My name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I read during the month of October. I read a total of 10 books this month, which I think is pretty decent. I'm doing well with my Goodreads goal, so I'm really happy about it. Without further ado, let's get into the books. The first book that I read this month was Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. It's a bit of a strange book. It follows this young girl by the name of Alice whose father has disappeared, and she's always been sort of bereft without him there. And so, sort of as her coming-of-age quest, as she's nearly 13, she decides to go after her father. So this is a very whimsical, strange story, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in the month of October was Last Seen Leaving by Caleb Roehrig. This book follows Flynn, whose girlfriend January has recently disappeared after they had this massive argument. But when Flynn does a little investigating of his own, he finds out that January's friends are telling stories that don't add up, and he himself is still trying to protect a secret. This was a fantastic debut novel. I absolutely loved it. The writing style is fantastic. I actually have a full spoiler-free review of this book up on my channel already, so if you would like to see that, I will link it down below as well as on the screen. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next thing that I read this month was a graphic novel, and that is the Wonder Woman Volume 4 titled War. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read this month was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Besides having a gorgeous cover, it also has some really gorgeous prose and a lovely and fantastic whimsical sort of world, which I think was actually really great to read around Halloween. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling of sorts following two young magicians in the night circus competing against one another. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read this month was And I Darken by Kiersten White. Mila from Mila Gabrielle and I buddy read this. It is a gender-bent retelling of Vlad the Impaler, so it's basically an epic historical fiction with more like fantasy vibes. I really loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read this month was actually an ARC that I got sent by Scholastic Press, and that is Hear the Wolves by Victoria Scott. This is a book that I have been waiting for a long time. This book follows a 12-year-old girl named Sloane who endured a sort of a traumatic experience. Her mother had just recently left her family behind, and shortly thereafter she got lost in the woods during the winter. She lost the hearing in her left ear. Once she gets back, she has separation anxiety and she wants to stick really close to her dad and her sister, but then one day her dad and her sister go out of town, leaving her in her cabin just as a huge storm rolls in, sort of sequestering her in this town. I was floored by this novel, honestly. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. This book doesn't come out until March 28th, 2017. I will have a full spoiler-free review of this book coming more close to the publication date. The next book that I read this month was Legend by Marie Lu. It's sort of an older dystopian series, and so that's, I think, why I was steering clear of it for a long time, because dystopians really aren't my thing. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read this month was Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica something. This is a historical fiction set during World War II in the Netherlands, following this girl who is tasked with finding the missing girl in the blue coat. This one will pull on your heartstrings. This one is intense. I really enjoyed it. The ending had me like near tears. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read this month was Misery by Stephen King. This is actually my first Stephen King novel, which I was so excited about. This thing was like violent and wonderful, and the writing style was so great. I just loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. The 10th and final book that I read this month was Black Widow Red Vengeance by Margaret Stohl. This book, of course, follows Natasha Romanoff, who we all know and love. If you are a Marvel fan, I highly suggest this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So that is it for all the books that I read in the month of October. You guys let me know down below some of the books that you read and loved this month. If you guys liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. I post new videos twice a week. If you guys would like to follow me on Twitter or any of my social medias, I will leave the links to those in the description box below as always. But most of all, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!